What's going on, fellas? Just giving you a nice view from my bedroom window rather than having to look at my ugly mug all the time. I'm only messing, just I wander all the joint, and it's easier this way. It's I I actually got this idea from I seen another guy do like a rugby breakdown video, and he just had a view of his TV room, and I thought, actually that's cool. It's easy. It's easy listening. Like if they're just like doing whatever, if they're sitting on a bus and they just want to put the earphones in, it makes it, I don't know, more chill or something, I think, doing it this way. But yeah. So a few days ago, right, I actually, one second. I wanna go roll a joint. I wanna go roll a joint. I'll take it with me for a second. I lost my internet dongle for a few days, and I had like literally no internet for like 3 days, but it was actually a really good 3 days, like the best 3 days I've had in a long time, because just no distractions, like no outside distractions, no like YouTube, no Google, no fucking, no way for. I was just completely unplugged from the matrix, and what I realized is, oh, one second, I've got fucking caught me. I was out earlier doing my shadow boxing, like yeah, my shoulder's all good now. I was breaking up some fucking fight in a uh, taxi station the other weekend. I wouldn't really call him a mate, but he's this fella that's always off as a nut in the area, but he's a nice enough fella. He's harmless, but he thinks I'm like a good mate of his or something because I fucking started talking to him sometime. But he calls up to mine like once or twice. Yeah, one second. That's that bottled water shit, yeah. For dehydration, don't be drinking that fucking tap water. Fluoride, fluoride in it, man. It will fucking dumb you down, Take your spirituality away, take your intuition away from you. That's try. If listen, what do you lose by trying, right? But yeah. So I was missing like the news cycle for like that amount of time, and then I missed a lot of news, especially well, the only news I really care about, because all the other news is bullshit. Let's be real, is like sports news, and the sports I'm most into by a long shot are rugby and mixed martial arts, because um they're the most pure, sports. They're two of the sports that, in my book at least, like on the field, like what you see is what you get. Like it hasn't been corrupted by all the politics and all the bullshit. Like, yeah, okay, outside that, whatever, but that, like, the two guys in the octagon, it's a fair fight. Anybody come in, and the same with the two rugby teams. From what my discernment has allowed me to see, because it's like, you know, like listen, this isn't even a secret, right? This isn't even being kept under wraps, because I'm not even like a big boxing guy. I'm not even a big boxing fan. Yeah. Now I train a bit of boxing, and have incorporated a little bit of boxing training into my all round game, but it's purely for martial, like for mixed martial arts. It's purely for adding to my toolbox, for competing, and just making me a better all rounded, just making me a better all rounded martial artist, but like, what was I gonna say? Yeah, like the amount of fucking, I mean, you've heard like Connor and Floyd, that something looked a little bit suspect about that, and then you remember the Michael Conlon fella, the Irish fella, who absolutely like boxed the ears off this Russian fella and bet him up so bad. The Russian fella who they gave the dodgy decision to couldn't even compete in the final. Like, you can tell boxing's fucking dirty. Like, it stinks of corruption, and that's not even a secret. That's not even me like blowing the whistle on anything at all, because you know the way fucking YouTube are. Like, YouTube would fucking like probably take your videos down for anything, but I'm not even like fucking saying anything that's like that anybody hasn't already heard. My point being that if the UFC was corrupt, right? Think about it for a second. Surely, like, McGregor would have won one of those last two Poirier fights. Like, that's kind of how I know, because yeah, like if there was a fight to fix for the UFC, it would be a McGregor fight. Now, maybe I could say the Cowboy fight, but let's be real. Like, if anyone's ever seen Cowboy fights like that, that actually makes sense. And to be honest, like the UFC, with all due respect to Cowboy, but at his age, like the UFC wouldn't have really been worried about McGregor losing to like a 36-year-old, 37-year-old Cowboy, which kind of in a roundabout way segues me into the point that I wanted to make about. I thought it was just a rumor because I've been off the internet for a few days, but what the fuck it's actually true. Because I was actually gonna make a video about like Conor McGregor's return card, and so so I was thinking Nate Diaz was most likely, and then which I'm gonna get into now. And but then I was thinking actually Gaethje would be a good fight for him, and I stick by that. I think Gaethje will be a good fight for him, but I don't know if he wants to make 55. 1 second, guys. I wanna get an energy drink. I'm all over the gaff. No, we'll get into McGregor in a separate video, but Nate Diaz is getting is being thrown to the wolves, literally. Yeah. Hamzat Chimaev. Yeah, Hamzat Boris Chimaev, the wolf. Like Boris literally means the wolf. Yeah, and man, I love Nate Diaz. They're fucking doing Nate Diaz dirty, man. Like honestly, like straight up, yeah. Yeah, that's like that like Hamzat Chimaev is 12-1 favorite. He's 12-1 favorite. Over Nate Diaz. Fuck's sake, I know I'm taking you on a fucking tour of the gaff. I am. Right, I got all my lawyers broke because they were cheap little pound store lawyers. But I got a candle lighter. Got a candle lighter in Tesco. Oh, it's after training, one Skinner. Right. Yeah, Hamzat Chimaev is like a fucking 12-1 favourite against Nate Diaz. I didn't even believe it until like I fucking seen a video like of Dana White talking about it, like, and it was actually like I think they. I know I didn't watch the UFC London, but I think they announced it on like UFC London or something. But yeah, like it's official. Nate Diaz against Hamzat Chimaev. And I have no idea what else is on that card because it's UFC 279, presumably in Vegas. No idea what else is on that card. I'm sure it'll do good numbers because they're both massive superstars in their own right. But I mean, this fight on paper isn't even competitive, and I love Nate Diaz. Like I love both of them in different ways. Like, but man, Hamzat Chimaev is a wrecking machine. Like Nate Diaz is a former 155er. Like he's a former 155 pound fighter. He's a bit like Cowboy Cerrone in that like he's a bit too big for lightweight, but he's not quite big enough for welterweight. But ideally Nate Diaz, like, I mean, he fought McGregor and he fought Pettis at 170, and he wanted to fight Poirier. So really, his kind of niche. I mean, even Jorge Masvidal, Gamebred, like he's a former lightweight as well. Now he probably never should have been at lightweight, but all the same, like he made it, and like he's definitely more of a lightweight than a middleweight. Same with Diaz. Like Hamzat did compete as high as middleweight. Hamzat probably could be guys in the middleweight rankings, especially if you look at like the middleweight division is a lot more what's the word, like shallow than the welterweight division. But like, let's be real, like Nate doesn't have a hope here. Like okay, like never write Nate out, like, and it could, but let's be real. And the thing is, I actually like Nate. Like, it's almost like you're watching a mate. Do you know what I mean? Like obviously I never met the guy. I don't know, like, I don't know him personally, but it is. It's almost like you're watching one of the fucking boys. Like he's been around so long, and he's just like, do you know what I mean? Everyone loves Nate, and it's like damn, like, why you gotta do him like that? Like, why don't you fucking give him Tony Ferguson at 170 or something? Another guy that's on his way out probably do just good numbers. Like, it's do you know, could you imagine if literally, like, because it's the last part of Nate's contract, like as soon as the bell ring, Nate just taps. Could you imagine that, and just flips down to the finger? because Nick You know, Nick was just like, he took too many fucking punches in the head from Robbie Lawler, and he was just like, fuck this shit. Thanks for the cheese, bitches. Catch us later. Like, could you imagine if Nate was just like, yeah, fuck this. I'm going to box Jake Paul and just fucking 1, 2, 3 in the middle of the octagon and just fucking leaves flipping down on the bird. Oh, the Saints, but no, Nate's too much. Nate's too much of a gangster for that. And the crazy thing is, Nate probably genuinely believes he can win, and you know, a fighter's mindset is the most important thing, because if a fighter genuinely believes he can win, no matter who he's fighting, and actually visualizes how he's gonna do it, and like, that's powerful. That's powerful. Like that's how McGregor rose up so quick, because literally he would like visualize it. He would visualize it before he would execute it in the octagon, and that's actually, you know, a big part of, well, you know, really any fighter who is worth much, because I mean, even like any it shows something. It doesn't even apply to fighting. It can apply to like look at Johnny Sexton for Ireland. Look at like when he's taking those 40-meter kicks. You know, like or if like a footballer is like taking, you know, like if a footballer is taking a fucking like 30-yard free kick, he's gonna like John Joe Shelby for fucking Newcastle. If he whips it in top corner, you know, he's gonna fucking see that in his mind's eye. Be like, you know, a millisecond before he does it. Like that's what it's all about. You know what I'm saying? So, I have no doubt that Nate Diaz does see a path to victory. Will he achieve it? Love you, Nate, but fuck no. You know, now he might survive. He might survive the 5 rounds. Personally, I don't want to see Nate get too badly fucked up, and I mean that in a nice way. Like I don't mean to like insult the guy. Like I love Nate. If I thought Nate had any chance to, like, against Jorge Masvidal in a rematch, where like I'd probably give him about like a 30 to 35% chance. You know, like against McGregor, I'd probably give him like a 30 to 40% chance. You know, against Ferguson, I'd probably give him about a 50% chance. Like, you know, Robbie Lawler would also be a fun one. There's a few guys like that they could put him in, and it would make more sense. But um, everybody knows, like, if you look at Nate's last few fights, Leon Edwards, Jorge Masvidal, yeah, like they, who did they get after that? You know, both them. Next fight, Kamaru Usman, title shot. So you know, well, Hamza's gonna, like, any type of victory over Nate, but like Hamza, you know the way Hamza fights, man, he's gonna wreck him. Like, he's gonna absolutely wreck him. But Nate's so tough. I'm gonna like probably like he'll be lose. You know something? The first 2 rounds will probably be 10-8. They'll probably be 10-8, being realistic, because you know, I think a couple of the rounds against Jorge Masvidal, certainly at least one, but maybe the first couple of rounds were 10-8 against Jorge Masvidal. Yeah, I just hope that, you know, Nate is good with his life after the UFC. You know, with his future endeavors. You know, like, I hope everything works out for Nate and his family and his life. I really do. I love the guy. You know, I think he's done a lot for the UFC. I think this is vindictive matchmaking. But I think Nate doesn't give a fuck at this stage. Nate just wants to fucking leave, and I think Nate will probably take that beat down, take whatever money he's getting. I think he'll do well on pay-per-view. I will set up a Hamza Usman fight, but I don't know, it kind of, like, Nate's still competitive. Like, he was still personally, if I remember that now, bear in mind, okay, the Masvidal Nate fight was so long ago, but from what I can remember of that fight, I think I gave the first 2 rounds like a 10-8 to Masvidal, and then I had Nate having a much better third round. Maybe it could have even given Nate the edge in that round. Now, I'd have to go back and rewatch it to give you like a more accurate breakdown. But from my memory, that's what I can. That's, you know, my recollection of it, more or less. You know, Hamza is a lot bigger than Masvidal. He's taller. He's a lot more of a grappler. Nate doesn't do traditionally well against grapplers. I will have to go in this one a mercy stoppage in the third round. Just Hamza by way of wrecking, but you know, Nate will be fine. He'll probably take a couple of years off. Fucking, I don't know. I think he already has his own fucking strain of weed. You know, that's probably. It's probably good to make, you know. Nate is set for the rest of his days, man. But I think I'd like to see him slap the hell off Jake Paul. Like you know, if Nate wants to make money in box and like don't be fighting these savages anymore, I'd like to see him box the hell off Jake Paul. Fuck, give me fucking. Give me 100 grand, I'll fight the cunt. I'll fight fucking Jake Paul. I don't. You know what I'm saying? I would. And that's not even me saying I'd beat Jake Paul in boxing. But win or lose, I'd fucking win. Do you think I would? Do you think I wouldn't fucking take a knockout for 100 grand? Do you know what I'm saying? I've taken fucking head kicks for free. But the other thing is, well, obviously I'm not gonna get that fight. But I'm just saying, Nate is probably going to get probably at least 10 million to fight Jake Paul, and it's only like a small fraction of the skill set that he would have to focus on for fighting in a mixed martial arts fight. You know, much less risk, much higher reward, and it's like, you know, if he loses to Jake Paul, like, well, first of all, people are like, that's another thing, like what I'm saying, because you're saying like, oh, Jake Paul has like no knockout contracts and all this, and I don't know, something about that Ben Askren fight, when he just the way Ben Askren dropped, it looked a little bit like he had practiced it, like you know, premeditated. But the reality is, I don't really give a shit. I don't have any proof of that other than what I seen with my own eyes and the way he fell, But the other thing is, I don't give a shit, because it goes back to what I was talking about, like boxing is one of the fucking most corrupt sports in there, and I think it's like it's out in the open that there was, I believe, a no knockout clause in the contract with Woodley. Now that's what I heard, you know, that's what I read, or that's what I heard. I think T Wood even came out and said it. So I don't give a fuck about these Jake Paul fucking boxing circus freak shows. I really don't. But if you know, Nate wants to get paid and make that money and hopefully beat Jake Paul's ass in the process, who am I to stop him? He's earned it, you know. Like Nate has earned whatever he wants to do. Yeah, that's my prediction for that one. And then Sugar Sean O'Malley against Petr Yan. That's another one where, you know, it's only 3 rounds, which I think might advantage Sean. It might be more to Sean's advantage rather than 5 rounds. But man, Petr Yan's a mean little dude. He's a mean little fucking savage, and I think he's number 1 ranked against like number 13, and Sugar Sean didn't look all that convincing against Pedro Munoz. Like I wasn't satisfied that like he was definitely gonna go on and win if I had gone to 3 rounds. I thought it was anyone's fight at that stage, halfway through the fight, and you know, Pedro Munoz is a real measuring stick about, like, if you beat him, you're a top 5 guy. If you don't, you probably won't crack the top 5. He was that, you know, that gauge, the gatekeeper to the top 5. Yeah, like that's, you know, I'm taking Petr Yan. I'm taking Petr Yan in that fight. I think Sean just hasn't had the level of competition yet. The best 2 guys he's had in the UFC have been Chito Vera and Pedro Munoz, and look how, you know, look at those fights went. I think I would have liked to seen Sean run it back with Pedro, or take on the winner of Chito Vera and Dominic Cruz. I believe they're fighting very soon, in a couple of weeks. Oh, fucking that candle is already gone out. 3 rounds though. Will Petr Yan finish Sugar Sean? What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. That's a good question actually. Will Petr Yan finish Sugar Sean? Yeah. I think like probably more than 50%. Yeah. I'm gonna go like Petr Yan to finish him late, but maybe Sean O'Malley to take the first round. I'm gonna go Sean O'Malley to do well in the first round, to keep him at at bay with his length, his kicks, all that kind of thing. Then Peter O'Malley, Peter O'Malley, Peter O'Malley comes out of the fucking scrum. Nah, yeah. So I'm gonna go with Peter Yan, late third round, TKO. I think he just probably follows him with body shots. Sean's got like, you know, a long skinny body, and I think Peter's just gonna be. I think Peter's just a little too seasoned for him. You know, he's too seasoned for him. He's too. It's kind of like the master against the apprentice. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like Sean O'Malley might be that good, and he might be champion one day. I'm not disputing that. I'm not saying he definitely will or he definitely won't. I'm not disputing his ability or his potential. But what I am saying is that, you know, you have to level up. What's the word? There's a word for, like, you have to level up in the right way. You have to level up adequately. That's not the word I'm looking for, but I think you know what I'm getting at. Like, so what I'm saying is, based on that performance against Pedro Munoz, like, the rightful next move for him would have been Munoz again, or like somewhere between like number 6 to 8, you know, Dominic Cruz, Marlon Vera, so something in that range. But like, he's been pushed. Yeah, he's been pushed too quick. He's not getting the right, the accurate, like the accurate level of competition. Appropriate. Yes, that's the fucking word I was looking for. Oh, you know that when you're looking for a word, it's just fucking. It's annoying, but yeah, he's not getting the appropriate level of competition, and I don't think he's been match made correctly. But then again, this is kind of a shot to nothing and a win-win, because if he wins, he gets a title shot, and you know, if he wins that, then he's champion and he's a huge marketable star, and you're able to keep putting him in pay-per-view main events. But and then if he loses, you know, as long as he doesn't get absolutely like wrecked, blown out there in the first round, as long as he looks good in it and, you know, competitive throughout parts in the fight, well, they'll say, well, look, you know, he wasn't supposed to win. He got the number one guy. He showed that he can hang with the number one guy. He'll be back. He's young. He'll learn from this. He'll grow. Do you know? So it's in a way, it's actually a good move, because it's basically like a win-win for the UFC. I haven't thought too much about the other fights. I haven't thought too much about the Aljo and Dillashaw fight. A lot of people are picking Dillashaw. I think Dillashaw has been away from the game for, like, he's had one fight in the last 3 years, or 3.5 years. Yeah, he's had one fight in the last 3.5 years, man. Fuck, you know. And then the one before that was the one where he got banned after for shoving a fucking needle in his ass. He was fighting at flyweight, and you can see they have weight classes for a reason. And what happens if you try to cut way too much weight? If anyone's seen him through that weight cut, man, he was he looked like an anorexic AIDS patient, right? And I would say, no disrespect to TJ Dillashaw, but in my humble view, fuck TJ Dillashaw, yeah? Fuck TJ Dillashaw. Fuck all cheaters who are cheating the system, shoving fucking needles into their arse. Bisping lost an eye because of that shit. Fucking Vitor Belfort, dirty fucking TRT juicing bastard, right? Feeling invincible on top of the world because he was mentally weak, and because he needed to be fucking taking that shit to feel invincible, to feel like he could be another fucking trained savage in a combat battle. And you know, Bisping lost an eye because his opponents was juiced up to the gills, and that's why I don't like cheaters. I really don't fucking like cheaters, and I really don't like. I just think if you're gonna take steroids, it's like, you know, I'm not saying I agree with everything Mark Hunt says, but like, Mark Hunt says, well, like, listen, if you want a juice, why don't we just have a fucking a juice league, like, and then just have a natural league? Because, like, if you look at, like, WWE back in the day, everyone knew they were fucking juiced. Everyone knew they were fucking Hulk Hogan and shit, Triple H, all them cunts. Like, you knew that they were fucking juiced out the wazoo, but you didn't give a shit because their job was professional wrestlers. Their job was just to fucking to entertain. Like it was predetermined anyway what was gonna happen. But when half these guys fucking paychecks and stuff like that, depends on it. But then again, everyone's at it like supposedly like, well, not everyone, but seems quite a few are like, Peter Yan is being accused of it. There's a lot to have, but TJ Dillashaw seems like it seems like he's been doing it most of his UFC career, and yeah, we'll just leave it up there. There's no doubt he is a great fighter, and it's the same with Anderson Silva. And I actually do like Anderson Silva. I do have a lot of respect for him, and like him coming back after that brutal leg break took a lot of courage. I showed the strength of his character. So like, I don't want to judge these guys too much, and like I even kind of like I asked myself this internal question like before. I was like, well, listen, let's say I was a fighter, and I'm not too far away from being one. I just have to find a gym, have to fucking get the money together. I don't know, maybe fuck off to Glasgow for a bit or something. I don't fucking know, but anyway, right? But I haven't lost the mindset for it, right? But I was thinking, right, like let's say I was competing, and everyone, like I knew that pretty much everyone, well, like more than like 85% of the people like in the industry, like that I was competing with, training with, whatever, where was taking it, would I take it then? And and it's a good question. It's an honest question you have to ask yourself, but it's still the same answer. No, because you can fool everybody else, but you can't bullshit yourself. And the other thing is, like, you were never meant to be like anyone else. Saying that like, oh, it's okay to do it because everyone else doing it. That's not an excuse. At least not in my books. Like when you are chosen, chosen by God, like chosen by a higher power. Like, well, make no mistake, we are all here for a fucking reason. That's just like, even think about all your ancestors before, like your granddads, your grandmothers, all those who came before. Think about like the tiny little infinitesimal fucking chances of them meeting, and then them having kids, and then like just the chance of conception of all the different possibilities, and then them meeting, and then all your ancestors, and then all the chain of events that needed to happen in order for them to come together, for you to be born, for you to be right here where you are right here right now. Think about all the shit that needed to happen, right, in order for you to be here right now. How can you say there is no God? Do you know what I'm saying? So what I realised is, and someone even said this to me before, he was kind of like a mentor type. He told me, because he said something to me. I was like, oh well, listen, like everyone else does it, and he's like, why you want to be like everyone else when you're supposed to be more, and that's the thing. Like, so like I really couldn't give a fuck what everyone else does around me, like, because it's between me and God. That's the only judgment that you should ever be concerned with. But yeah, like the thing is, and I say this as well, yeah. You can't condition your chin. You really can't. Like you can't have your fucking your chin on roids. Like being on the juice doesn't make your chin any stronger. Some people just have chins and some people don't, and some people are kind of somewhere in between. Like Luke Rockhold, you could give him all the roids you wanted, stiff gust of wind he'd still do the chicken dance, yeah, that's another fight that's coming up. I think old Ricky Martin's gonna wreck him. I think old Ricky Martin's gonna send him back to be a fucking part-time Ralph Lauren model. But no, Rockhold was good in the day. But listen, like, I mean, he was champ, and he lost his belt to Bisping 6 years ago. Back in 2016, right? How many fights has Rockhold had since that? Let's see. He had the David Branch one after that. That was like a year and a bit after. But Branch kind of showed that Rockhold is vulnerable. He had him in a bit of trouble, and Rockhold pulled through. Second round, I think second round finish, some submission maybe. He was supposed to fight Whitaker because GSP fucking came back and are you intoxicated? Are you intoxicated? It's like the stock market. Then he fucking the old Canadian lizard. No, George is cool, and actually I will say this. I'm pretty sure that, now I could be wrong, of course. I really I can only go with what I can see, and just the feeling I get. I wouldn't be shocked now if it came out that he was on it, but George seems like one of those clean dudes. Like, he seems one of those straight up dudes. I think George. I don't think George. I think George was ever on it. I think George was just again, I could be wrong, but just my opinion. He was just a great athlete. He was just a fucking great athlete. He was just a consistent. You could see he was really, really dedicated to what he was doing, and he was the market leader in the game for a long time. So yeah, he came back after 4 years of retirement, and took on Bisping in what many thought was kind of a favourable match for him. I wouldn't argue with that, but George GSP is a smart bloke. It's good to have on your legacy that you were 2 division champion, and that was his best division. That was his best chance to do it in that division at that time. So I don't fault him for that. And then the division went through a kind of a bit of a weird phase, kind of a lull, because George vacated the title. Robert Whitaker was interim champ, so they were gonna do. They promoted Whitaker from interim champ to, undisputed champ, and they were gonna do Whitaker versus Luke Rockhold, in Perth in Australia, but Whitaker, he hasn't had the best luck with injuries, pulled out, and he got violated. Male prison style violated in after that fight with the little kiss, because I think Rockhold was talking shit, and Yoel Romero, Rockhold didn't even know what was going on after, but Yoel Romero came up to his face and he was kind of letting him know what's what, because I think Rockhold said something on the lead up fucking Romero said in that fucking real cool Cuban Godfather voice, and it was translated by on the screen, and it's checks written with the mouth will be cashed with the teeth, and I love that quote, because Romero's a fucking G, and I do believe, all respect to Bisping, I believe he would have fought him, but I believe that he was one of those fucking boogeymen for Bisping, that Bisping knew that Romero would probably fuck him up. I love Bisping. I love listening to Bisping's podcast. Bisping's a solid bloke, and he was a great champion, and he deserved it, and he was one of the few fucking clean ones in the game. So fair play. I think probably DC. You could say DC has the honour as well, because no one that's on roids has that fucking physique, man. I think DC was just a little fucking bear. So fair fucks to DC as well. But yeah. So Bisping retired, GSP vacated and went back into retirement. Romero wrecked Rockhold. Romero got the shot. It was a rematch of the interim title match. Romero got fucked over by the commission in Chicago. You have to weigh 185 obviously for a title fight. Romero was a pound over. He had an hour to lose a pound. And then they cut him short with 20 minutes to go. Don't ask me why. And they told him if he didn't get on the scale now, he wouldn't be allowed to fight. And he was 0.2 over, and he easily would have made it if he was given the proper time allowance. So, in my books, it was for the middleweight title, but only Whitaker could win it. If Romero had won that fight, because of the regulations, the rules wouldn't have allowed him to be crowned champion that night. So in all likelihood, what it was probably going to be was, it would have been really weird, because Whitaker would have lost but still had the belt and been called the champion, and Romero would have won and not had it, and then I would imagine that they would just have to fucking do it again for a third time, and it would have made sense, I suppose, because they're 1-1 as well. It would have just been a shame that Romero didn't get that belt. Kind of like with Oliveira now, you know, except obviously the roles were reversed and Romero was challenging and Oliveira was champion. But like, you know, yeah, you've kind of seen the roles reversed there with Oliveira, and that's shit. You know, like I think Oliveira should have his belt, but at least he actually got to hold the belt already. You know, at least he actually got to have the title fight, make way, and then have the defense as well and defend the belt, and then he missed weight for a second defense. But to be fair, like Oliveira isn't like a massive lightweight. He's a good sized lightweight, not